In this video, we will explore how we graph a linear equation using the intercepts. This will be our second method. So first of all, what are these things called? Intercepts. So there are two. The x-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So let's take a look at these pictures down here and see if we can find these values, right? So I'll do the x-intercept in red and the y-intercept in blue. So the x-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis, right? So right here, crossing the x-axis, that is the x-intercept. Now if you were to write that point down, that would be the coordinate -2 and 0. -2 this way and no up and down, 0. And the y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis, right? So that's right there. And that point would be, so that's the y-intercept. And that point right there, well, we don't go left or right, so x is 0, but we go up 4, 0, 4. Let's go over to the second picture and find the x-intercept. So the x-intercept I see crossing the x-axis right here. And so that point x-intercept, and that would be the point, let's see, -1 on the x, and it doesn't go up and down, so that's 0 on the y. And the y-intercept right there, y-intercept, well, let's see, it doesn't go left or right from the x direction, so that's 0, but it does go down 3, so that's -3. So the y-intercept. So let's write the two y-intercepts down. So the y-intercepts would be 0, 4 and 0, -3, and the x-intercepts would be -2, 0 and -1, 0. And the reason I reason I did that was for us to see a pattern, and that is that when you're trying to find the x-intercept, right, you notice that the y value is 0, right? So x-intercept, this implies that the y is equal to 0. And likewise, notice on the y-intercept, right, y-intercept, this means that the x value is 0. Now, why is that a big deal, right? Why is that a big deal? Well, remember how we're going to find points. We pick either the x or the y, and we find the other one. So if someone says find the x-intercept, well, we'll make sure to pick 0 for y, right? So if the problem says find x-intercept, that means pick 0 for y and find x. And if the problem says find the y-intercept, then we're going to pick 0 for x and find y. Okay? Alright. So to me, the way I keep it straight was when it says find the x-intercept, in my head, x is the thing that needs to be found, y is known. Y-intercept, y is the thing that needs to be found. X is known. All right, so let's do a little example, right? Graph 8x minus 4y equals to minus 4 using, now this is key, using x and y intercepts. Now, many students get these kinds of problems wrong. It's not that they draw the wrong line, it's that they don't use the intercepts. So please read the question. If it says using the x and the y intercept, you must do so to get the problem right. Okay, there is no choice. So, how are we going to do this? Well, let's see. So, to find the x-intercept, right? So let me say x-intercept. Right? What am I going to do? I know then for the x-intercept, the y value is 0. So y value is 0. Right? Let me erase that. The y value is 0. So I can use that fact to find the x. So I go to my equation and I use the fact that y is 0 and I solve this. So 4 times 0 is 0, so that's a minus 4. Divide both sides by 8 and I get x equals negative 1/2. Right? Negative 1/2. So my solution, so x, y, my solution is minus 1/2 comma 0. To find the y-intercept, so we extend this table. So to find the y-intercept, because that's what it said, I must use the intercepts, I would use x equals 0. So 8 times 0 minus 4y equals minus 4. So that's 0. Minus 4y equals minus 4. Divide both sides by minus 4. Y is equal to positive 1. So now I have a spot, a point 0, 1. So I've got 2 points, and that's really all I need to draw my graph. So let's see if I can draw it. Now remember, we are using the intercepts, so when I draw this, my dots will be on the x-axis and the y-axis. That's how it should be. So let's see the first one. So starting 0, 0, I go to minus half. Okay, so this is going to be tricky to draw because, you know, it's not right there. Go away. Right there. Okay, minus a half. Oh, okay, there it is. And then the other one is 0, 1. So right there. Oh, those are very, very close, and there's no way I'm going to draw a nice, decent straight line connecting those two, but I'll give it my best shot. Yes. Okay, but it is key when you're doing your homework that you use those 2 dots. If you used a different pair of dots, let's say you used one there and there, your line would still be correct. However, you'd be marked wrong because you did not use the intercepts. So you must use the intercepts. Okay, there is no choice. All right, let me do one more problem, one more example for you to see, and then we'll stop. So fractions, unfortunately, will happen because you're locked in with these numbers. So let's say example 2, graph 3x plus 5y equals to 9 using the x and y intercepts. Okay, so here's my chart, the x-intercept. So x, y, and for the x-intercept I know y is equal to 0. That's known. My solutions. Okay, so y is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and use that fact. 0 for y, so 5 times 0 is 0. So 3x is equal to 9. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 3. So my first solution is 3 and 0. So the y-intercept. This time I know x is equal to 0. So 3 times 0 plus 5y equals to 9. So 5y is equal to 9. Divide both sides by 5. I get y equals 9/5. Now, sometimes, especially when you're trying to graph something, it's easier if you have a decimal to sort of gauge where you end up. So 5 divided by 9 roughly, well, in this case, it's going to work out to be a terminating decimal. This is 1.8. Right? So my solution is 0, 1.8, and that's much easier to actually, guesstimate at than 9/5. So let's see here. Let me make this graph a little bit bigger, so maybe we can be a little bit more accurate. So 3, 0. So starting from 0, 0, I go to 3 and then don't go anywhere. So there is my first dot. And then 0, 1.8. So 0 going up to 1.8. So that's roughly there. That's my second dot. And so I will use those two as my points to draw my graph, right? So if you're using MyMathLab, of course, this is much more accurate. Once you put the dots down, it draws the straight line for you. So that's super nice. But I don't have that feature here. So there is your picture. So just remember that if it says use the intercepts, you must use the intercepts. Oh, one more thing. Intercepts are always points, right? These are always points. So intercepts are always points. In other words, they're coordinates, right? They're coordinates. So you must give an XY pair, like I have in these examples, both the X and the Y. All right, that's it.